All right. So today I'm joined by Barrett Donovan and Lisa. So when this whole issue went down with the COVID thing, obviously fitness facilities and gyms were about the first places to be closed. The three of us linked up and decided to bounce ideas off each other and figure out how we take our in-person platforms online and just kind of what to do to keep people engaged in what we do. So I'm joined with Lisa and Barrett today. Um, I will just start asking some questions so that you guys can get to know who they are. So we're doing a bit of an interview. So we'll start with Lisa. What got you into sport slash fitness slash coaching and kind of to where you are now?
It's a long, twisty road. So I played every sport I could growing up. Went and basically didn't hit a weight room until I was in college for volleyball and swimming. And from there, learned my first Olympic lift in the basement at Peak Power at SAIT. And then somehow got recruited to go and compete with bobsleigh for Bobsleigh Canada. And so then that was where like the true in gym training time was spent. And then I had some really, really knowledgeable and amazing coaches that were leading me and writing programs for me. And then I found that I kind of had a knack for picking up what their thought process was. And then they also, anybody who was willing to listen, they would sit down and actually explain and educate you about your program. So you had a better understanding of it, basically you bought into it more because you understood it further. And we would always have like a month to 2 months off within our entire season to just do nothing. And typically, your first year, you're like, yes, a month of freedom, and you physically do nothing, and then you return, and it's complete and utter pain. So I learned quickly that it was a matter of, even though I had time off, it didn't mean do nothing. So I would write my own programs for that time off, have my coaches go through it, approve it, and then carry on. So that was like my introduction to writing programs, truly. And then from there, after retiring from bobsleigh, I went into actually doing an office job instead, and I hated every single moment of it. I begged and pleaded for the day where I could just quit my job. And from there, through trying to find what I will do if I do quit my job, I found becoming a personal trainer. I didn't have the degrees that were required to go and get your CSCS. So I got the personal training certificate, and now I do as much further education as I can on my own time, on my own dime instead.
Awesome. And obviously, by your shirt, you own the Hub,
I
and
do.
that's located in
High River, Alberta.
There
Yeah.
we go. Awesome. Cool. Barrett, same question. Let's do yours a little bit different, though. Are you and what business are you running? Followed by what got you into this sport, fitness and coaching in general.
All right. Well, I'm Barrett Donovan, and I own Next Evolution Athletics out of Calgary, and I work out of the Trek Fit Lab facility. And yeah, I've been doing that for, I think it'll be a third year in August. We'll be there. So yeah, it's been pretty cool. Yeah, that's me in a nutshell, like for my company anyway. Now, what got me into this? Oh man. Well, I guess the best way you can describe it is when I was younger, like I started a gym on my 16th birthday, and I really did it because there wasn't much else to do. Like I played a lot of sports in high school, but the gym that I worked at, the gym in the area, you couldn't actually get a membership until you were 16. So as soon as I turned 16, I started working out in there, kind of like the bros would, working out leg extensions and squat, bench, and dead. But what I realized, it actually massively improved my hockey game. And from that, I kind of correlated. The only thing I did differently was work out. So I just kept working out, and I kept getting better at hockey. And then I did it all through high school. And then I took my degree in kinesiology at the University of Brunswick. And I graduated from that. And then taught English in Japan for a year, came back, and I moved to Calgary to become a cop. And the reason why I got into the field was because I took a job as a personal trainer at a gym here, and I just took it as a part-time job while I was going through the recruiting process, and then realized it's actually a career path out here. Once I realized it was a career path, I haven't looked back since. I've been doing this for 14 years professionally. It's the only job I've had, and I've been fortunate enough to work with some of the best coaching in North America with hockey or powerlifting or whatever. And that's kind of how I got into it. I just fell in love with the iron game. Just love those irons. Love those weights.
Yeah, yeah, and they don't care about you. They'll break you in a second, right?
Nope, the iron never lies.
All right, cool. We'll follow that up with, you guys are both going to hate this question because it's going to put you in a box that you don't want to be in. But if you had to choose, what is the most important aspect of fitness to you, right? It's such a broad question, but what's that aspect and why? So Lisa, we'll start with you.
I hate you so much right now.
I know, right? Get in your box. Yeah. So
Movement quality.
Okay.
So how well do you move your body through time and space? And it's very personal and very individual, but it's taking what you've got and being able to move it with the best to your advantage.
Awesome. That's a very good answer. Barrett, if you had to pick one of the qualities of fitness, what would it be?
I'd honestly have to say mindset.
Yeah.
Straight up, because no matter what sport you're, in my opinion, again, no matter what sport you're doing, no matter what type of training you're doing, no matter what athletic endeavor or daily life endeavor you're trying to do, if you don't believe you can do it or you can accomplish it, it doesn't matter how good your movement quality is, how good your strength is, how good your cardiovascular conditioning is, how good, no matter what, you can't do it.
Yeah.
So you have to have a mindset to accomplish whatever you want to accomplish, whatever your goals are.
All right. So we have.
Kind of took the gray area though. You kind of took the gray area there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I could sit here and talk about, we could all sit here and talk about strength and iron and everything else all day. We're all power lifters. So, but yeah, that mindset is crucial. But yeah.
All right.
Again,
well, the way I look at it is we got two different answers. One is your psychology is important, and the other is physically how well you move is important. And I think they're both very, very valid for different reasons, and they both apply to each other.
The debate starts now.
You could have the best mindset in the world, but if you're a quadriplegic, your fitness probably isn't going to be the best, right? So they're both very important.
Hey, right? But the power of thinking about good movement is there too. No, I'm joking.
The fourth question is, if I made you both wear boxing gloves right now, who would win? No. I think a big thing that a lot of people miss with anything is people evolve as they grow. So how has your coaching practice evolved over the years, and has your specific focus that you like to look at in coaching, whether that be strength or sport or whatever, altered over that course? So Lisa, we'll start with you.
Oh gosh, I'm learning to talk less.
Okay.
So learning to find the right moments to speak up and coach verbally, and then better identifying the times to just, either body language, head nod, whatever, or allowing the athlete more time to figure out what needs to be improved or what was good before I respond to them. I found when I started, I talked a lot just to fill the air because I felt I had to express my knowledge so much that I think I became quite annoying, or the point was lost because there was too much chatter going on. But as I mentioned earlier when we were starting, I feel like in my coaching realm, I've I've gone from like, yeah, I totally know what I'm doing to like dropping back down and being like, I have no idea what I'm doing. So to the point where prior to COVID cropping up, I was establishing myself where I was going to be shadowing other coaches at higher levels. They were coming in to basically do coach the coach sessions as my athletes were training. And also I was going to their locations to learn from them and how they were working with their athletes as well, because it's definitely like it's an up and down lifelong learning process for sure.
Awesome. Barrett, how has your practice evolved over the years, and has your primary focus shifted?
I'd say probably a lot of coaches when they start out get very set into one way or one system. And I was that way when I first started. Like, it was always like 3 sets of 10, blah, 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 like squat first, blah, blah. And now I'm realizing that it's not as dogmatic as it's set out to be. So I've really broadened my spectrum and incorporating different types of movements, even some conditioning, even for powerlifters. Like, most people don't think like powerlifter doesn't do conditioning. Well, you know, if you aren't fit, chances are you're not going to recover. So if you can't recover, you can't squat again. So there's that. So I've actually probably looked at a lot of different methodologies, a lot of different styles, incorporated a lot of different systems, and just in my own training, just for myself, I usually get to pick myself and my clientele. So I'm not so set in my ways. I'm actually getting more fluid, for lack of a better term, because I've realized that there are hundreds of ways to make someone stronger or better at their sport. And it's just how you apply that foundational knowledge. So just picking up more skills as you go.
Yeah, that definitely sounds in line with a lot of the stuff that I've heard from a lot of the other coaches that you go to their seminars and they're like, yeah, it's just, you got to do a lot of different things rather than one thing.
I think the more one thing you do, the more trouble you get into.
Yeah, that overuse thing. That seems to be a big problem that a lot of people find themselves in, or they box themselves into that corner, right? Where it's like, yeah, you might be strong and you can lift something once, but if I ask you to do it again in 5 minutes, you're so gassed you can't, right? So
just that mental pigeonhole too, right? Because then you're no longer open to accepting a new thought process or learning something new. Even though you should, you've pitched yourself as this is what I do, that you're hesitant to expand beyond it.
Yeah. Coaching is very unique that way. And I found like I've grown in very similar ways to you guys, where you start out and then you're just kind of like, okay, this is what I do. This is what's important. And then it's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't cue as much and just tell you when it's appropriate and let you learn what you're doing a bit, right? So when to back off that little bit, I find that's something a lot of coaches have, and then boxing yourself in. Cool. If you guys could go back and change one thing in your career path or life, whatever, what would you do different? Lisa, let's start with you.
Well, I mean, if we're going to go all the way back, I would not have bought the bobsleigh that I bought on Olympic year, because learning a sled in 1 week to qualify the next just didn't pan out very well. But anyways, in terms of
I get it. That's a good one.
Oops. No, in terms of coaching or in terms of even business operations, I would have gone back with a larger seed fund for opening my business and having more cash flow in place prior to opening. And I would have now, because of COVID, I actually would not have been so hesitant or so full of excuses not to go online for an online option.
Awesome. All right. What would you have done different?
Oh, so many things. I mean, probably one of the biggest things I wish I could have changed was understanding behavior change a little bit better. Like even my own personal behavior change, because when I was younger, I was so stubborn. Like I cut off my nose in spite of my face. Like I was just so stubborn and refused to listen to anything that wasn't my own kind of way of doing things. And that really cost me a lot of like really cool opportunities. So I missed a lot of really good opportunities in that sense. It also caused me to really narrow my focus as a coach, not only as a coach, but as a person too. Like I just missed so many really cool opportunities and potential learning situations. Like there's so many things I could have did, not being that stubborn and just slowly making that behavioral change mindset. Like it would have made my business easier, most of my relationships a bit easier. My coaching would have gotten massively better. Like there's just so many things that could have changed if I just had understood that basic concept.
Awesome. Yeah, it's amazing how as you age, you realize how what you thought you knew isn't necessarily the be all end all, right?
Well, Lisa, you said it best, where you think you know everything and then you actually start to learn something and you realize you're a complete idiot. You don't know anything.
Yeah.
I find I spend the bulk of my time in the pit of my coaching career. Like I don't know anything.
Yeah.
And I talk to other coaches that are just starting out, like, where did you learn this stuff? Like, I don't know anything.
Yeah, it's definitely like that. The farther down the rabbit hole you go, you realize it's not a rabbit hole. It's something much larger, right?
It's endless pit. It never is a vacuum is void.
Yeah. And it's humbling when you realize it and you sit back, you're like, whoa, I had no idea.
Yeah. Well, I find with our jobs as fitness coaches, trainers, things like that, our rabbit hole is so huge. It really is, right? Like you could get down to like the cellular level of function when it pertains to like fitness, and then you can do the exact same thing in nutrition, and then you have psychology as another aspect of what we do. It's just like this massive field that encompasses so much.
Yeah. And then the offshoot just from those three subjects alone is outrageous.
Yeah, which is one of the really cool things. There's always something, someone's opinion to read on this topic, and there's always conflicting opinions, or there's this information this way or that way, that it's fun because you never stop learning.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, truly, there's so much science that like is just coming out on human physiology too, that before it was just guesses that people were making, and now there's actually science because of the wearables that we have and all the other scientific basically apps that you can have to get that information now.
Yeah, it's a really, I always find it interesting when I talk with coaches and athletes and they're like, why do you keep reading? Why do you keep studying? Why do you keep learning? And it's like, because if you don't, you're pretty much screwed in this field. Like if you aren't learning something every day, you're pretty much behind. Like there's no way around it.
Yeah. Well, and you're learning so much more than just, the movements or the exercises. You're learning the levers, the chemical compounds that make up the rest of the story. You're learning nutrition. You're learning, like, it's never ending.
And then you go into like, my client has a crappy day, or they didn't sleep all night. Their kid kept them up. Are they going to squat? Like there's just so many different like avenues and facets to take into consideration just in a single training session when I'm designing a training program for someone.
Gosh, if I could go back, I do psychology and kinesiology, right? Like I would not go to trade school. I would go back and do those things instead, because that psychology alone is just a huge component that we might not have the education for, but we have the understanding of how to work with it and discuss it a little bit.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for the personal touch and understanding kind of what other people are going through and their motivational factors to, coax them into doing certain things. So anyways, guys, I'll let you go there. Thank you for participating in this. I look forward to talking with you guys in the future in greater detail on certain subjects.
Fabulous. Thank you very much.
That was fun.
All right.